the Zoom link, but it helps me to know who's planning on showing up. So if you can register, that's great. If not, you'll get the Zoom link anyway. And it's 9 o'clock right after our circle on the 7th.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
Lovely.
And will you send out, you know, for those who can't be there live, will you send out a recording?
Yes, I will. Yeah.
Lovely.
Only to the group. I mean, yeah, because I don't usually do that if you don't participate, but yes.
Okay, we just ask that you keep it just for our group, that people don't distribute it in any other way.
Right, because people might be sharing things that they may not want the world to know.
Perfect. Thank you, Sheila. We were speaking before we opened up our circle about just the storytelling, the storytellers that we are innately, and that telling our story is a process for us to be able to recognize all the pieces of ourselves, and that integration that is so fundamental to who we are. And without the process, it's harder to gather all these pieces. There are many ways. This writing is not the only way, but it's one beautiful way. We're going to talk about another way today as well, but it's about integration, and we have to recognize our pieces in order to integrate them. So collecting ourselves, reclaiming ourselves. Our stories are very, they're our history. It's who we are, and it's who our family has been, and it's what's happened to us, and it's what's happened around us. And all of these pieces of our life are part of the story of who we are, how we got to where we are now, and where we're going. So really.
Exactly. Perfectly said, as always.
Thank you, Sheila. I appreciate it. We're so blessed to have so many women, all women, everyone on this call, and in our circle has such beautiful offerings into the world. I mean, not, a surprise, we're all doing the work. So when we can share it with one another, it's just an extra treat. And so let's take advantage of those treats. Thank you. So today I haven't asked Siddhi this, so I'm going to just ask her while we're here. Siddhi and I are going to hold, for any of you who are local or who want to be with us, on Sunday, May the 1st, which is next Sunday, a week from tomorrow. Siddhi is going to be in Northern California, and we are going to hold a 2-hour satsang on Sunday afternoon from 4 to 6. And we invite anyone who can make it here to be with us. One of the things that we're going to do, 2 things we're going to do, but one I'm going to speak to first, is to go over our Devaganda, our Kriya, that people had said they'd like to be retrained in. And that takes us about a half an hour for us to do that together. So we will have that. We will probably record it so that we can distribute it to those who aren't local and who wanted a brush up. If we can't record that one well, Siddhi and I will do a recording or a Zoom or something else. But for those of you who can be present, we will be going through that Kriya. Is that okay with you, Siddhi?
Absolutely.
Good, lovely. And then we'll be doing a couple of other things, but it's a Sangha or a satsang. And a satsang is just a time for us to get together and to have questions and answers and chat and share, and more fluid, where everybody has an opportunity to contribute, which is harder to do on a 45-minute call. So all of those of you who, I'll send it out in our weekly, the details of it in our weekly email. So today, I want to talk about, because you are all practicing the life of a conscious human being, a conscious female in this environment that we are in this age, in this era that we're in, we have been consciously stepping into the space between the world of form and the world of energy. And there is this, eventually we will weave them together, where we'll move so fluidly from one into the other, and we will actually integrate both, where we're living that way all the time. But while we're establishing that integration, we sometimes find ourselves consumed by the world of form. And then we set aside our discipline and our time to sit on the cushion or sit on the floor and have the world of our spirit energy, our higher self, as a separate experience. Fern was sharing this morning, it was so beautiful. She was sharing how she has used and uses many of our micro practices and some of the talks that we've had to be the bridge for her, so that when there are times when she's not just able to sit on the mat and do a practice, that those she takes with her everywhere she goes, that we can be in the grocery store line and be doing one of our micro practices. We don't have to be just in a sit on the mat, do your practice, that the integration of this form world and spirit world is our aim, is to have that be constant everywhere we go, that it's not just entering and exiting it. It's not just when we do a practice that we enter into it. So these tools we talk about, like writing, and chanting and mantras and all of these meditation, are portals for us to get into that spirit connectedness to that higher self. And we do that so that that road, that path becomes so familiar to us that we can start walking back and forth or existing in both very seamlessly. But while we're learning it and practicing it, sometimes we're in one and sometimes we're in the other. And so I want to talk a little bit today about sound as one of those portals that we use to integrate our body and our spirit. Sound, because it resonates and vibrates in our body, it's a physical experience that we're having when there's sound around us or sound is coming through us, when we're creating sound by either our voice or by singing or by playing instruments. When we're creating that, we're walking into that experience of integrating the sound and the vibration in our form, but also in our spirit journey, because we know that higher frequencies give us a more direct contact to our higher self. So we're trying to have this tuning fork of a body and form be that which connects most easily. That's why we do all these practices and we watch our diet and we try to be a clean vessel to be able to connect. So I want to talk a little bit. One of the things that I think is so interesting, we have been chanting mantras, and many of you are familiar with the forms of yantras. We had a yantra, our Devi yantra at Spirit House. So many of you have been in ceremony around yantras, but yantra is the physical form of the mantra, a mantra, which is creating an energy, and that energy and form is a yantra. So in our body, we are a manifestation of form that has come from sound. Sound is one of the primordial beginnings for the universe, for creation. Sound is the underlying essence and vibration that things are created out of. That's why we chant mantras, to be in the creation process. So what we want to do is to use any type of sound that we can to be a bridge, to help us with that integration so that we can take it with us wherever we go. And it doesn't have to be bifurcated in our life, in a practice or in our life, that our life becomes that practice. So frequency of energy, it resonates when we increase our frequency of our system, of our body, we connect with a deeper knowingness. So there's an intelligence that exists on several levels. There's an intellectual intelligence, there's a mind intelligence, there's a body intelligence where we intuitively know what we should not do with our bodies. And there's also an energetic intelligence. And that energetic intelligence is the place where we collaborate in creativity in however we want to create and offer into the world with our higher self. So the frequency that we want to step into on a regular basis is this higher level of a frequency, so that we get used to that contact and we start creating, and everything that we say and do throughout our day is done without any consciousness of us. We don't have to think about, I'm trying to create. You become creation. You don't think about, how do I do it? In the beginning, we think it's like walking. Babies are, there's a process. In the beginning, there's a little shakiness when you're first learning how to walk. But once you have the rhythm of that, then you step into it. You don't think anything about walking, taking a step, unless you have an injury that causes you to think a bit more carefully about taking a step. So in this era that we're in, that we've spoken of, this Kali Yuga that we've spoken of, it's the women's responsibility to rise to a level of integration that allows us to offer the healing that we're here to offer into the world. Women come as healers. Every woman that's in this circle has a way that they offer healing into the world, whether it's in a conscious way where you have a practice or an offering that you make, or as mothering or as service into your community. But you are offering, if you explore your life, you will see that you are offering healing to yourself and others naturally. It's coming out of you. That's women's part of how we are designed is as healers. And so what is another way that we can hone that possibility and that practice and make ourselves the bridge for others between their sense of form, their understanding, and their rootedness in their form and their experience of their higher self, a higher frequency. And so one of the things that we know is that the heartbeat is the center of our connectedness to soul. And that when we can resonate with and practice with something with the heartbeat, there is a way that we get into a rhythm that connects us more easily to our higher self when we listen to that heartbeat. So one of the powerful tools in that is drumming. And I want to talk a little bit about drumming because I would like for us to do some drumming on May 1st when we gather, because drumming has been a sacred tool throughout the ages. That you could go back thousands of years and you will see, I've been reading a book, I was sharing it with one of you, reading a book about women when women were drummers, I think is the name of the book, by Lane Redmond, Layne Redmond. And she did a study of carvings and paintings that are on caves and temples and pyramids throughout the world from thousands and thousands of years ago. And women, the divine feminine, shows up holding a drum across traditions, across ages, across geographical locations. Women have been carrying that heartbeat from the drum into sacred rituals and daily life for thousands of years. And that was true until we came to more of the patriarchal time of the church, when women stopped having that type of influence and participation. And this is something we have to reclaim. And it doesn't have to be done simply through a drum, but a drum is a really lovely way for us to calibrate ourselves with our heartbeat because of the resonance of it. And because a drum as an instrument, it's one thing to listen to music, it's another thing to create music. And most music, when you create it, it takes a certain level of expertise and practice. A drum as a percussion instrument takes a lot, but just as a simple heartbeat is quite easy to utilize. So you don't have to learn how to, play a flute or play the piano or something that's going to take you a long time. A drum can be experienced by a novice, and it can be experienced by a very trained person. And so I'd like for us to spend some time utilizing drums to connect with our heartbeat as this portal and bridge between our body and form and our energetic higher self. We have made drums together. Many of you have made drums with me, and perhaps we'll be able to do that again next year. It won't happen this year given our timing and travel and whatnot, but next year. But in the meantime, I do have a lot of drums, and drums are readily available, and you can find all sorts of drums online. So it's something that you could add to your practice so that you can start resonating with and hearing and feeling and practicing with your heartbeat, bonding with that piece of your form, which also takes you to the spirit. Really important. Drums have been used in shamanic circles. I don't know if Lisa is with us today or not, but she practices her drumming. She's not with us this morning. All of her shamanic work happens through the drum. Shamans take you into a trance, which allows them to access different levels of the upper world, lower world, and the world that the plane that we're on. So drums have been used in healing ways forever, forever, forever. So I'm going to just leave you with that I have drums, we'll have drums, other instruments that you might want to bring on May 1st, if you are able, anything, rattles, chimes, anything that makes sound. We're trying to learn how to utilize sound as a practice, a little micro practice. So I'm going to leave us with that. And Siddhi, what do you want to do with that?
Yesterday, he said, oh yeah, I don't know what I want to talk about. And then she gave me, and she said, yeah, this. And I was like, wow, maybe I have to let them all fly through the air and have one foot on the ground because I don't know how to transmit this one into the body. But while you were speaking, I thought it would be lovely to connect to the drum beat of our heart by just taking the 3 fingers, ring, middle, and index finger of your right hand, and place it onto your left wrist. And you're searching for your pulse. Because the pulse is the drum beat of your heart. And just sitting, some women have to search it. If you don't find it at your wrist, you can search here at your neck. Trust me, there's a pulse there. Otherwise, you wouldn't be with us right now. And just close your eyes and search. It's mostly around, there are 3 lines here at your wrist. And if you place your ring finger there, and then just search for the pulse. Don't get stressed out if you don't find it right now. It's just there. And then allow this pulsing to take you deeper into your body. Imagine the movement and the pumping of your heart. And you might become aware that even the pulse is moving. Sometimes we have to readjust our fingers. In Kundalini Yoga, we have a meditation actually on the pulse. It's one of our very first meditations that we teach to beginners to connect to their heartbeat, to the rhythm of life within. I hope you found it all. You stay there for another minute, maybe closing your eyes. And then being present to the aliveness and the vitality, all the movements inside of you. It's quite fascinating to connect to the inside because we can't look inside, we can only feel inside. Good, and then gently open your eyes. So I want you to know that when one gets really sensitized and trained, we can actually feel the pulse of our lungs, of our kidneys, of actually the organs within us. And if you go to an acupuncturist, they take your pulse and they can take all different pulses. So they can feel how everything moves inside of us. I want us now to take our fingers, thumbs inside, wrap your fingers around, and just make a humming sound while you're hitting your thymus gland. And imagine your thymus gland, your chest is a drum. And you're drumming to the beat of your heart and the sound of your soul. There's a lot happening right now under your skin. A lot of energy comes up to the places where you're hitting. And then just rest your hands onto your thymus gland, left hand on top, right hand on top of your right hand, and feel for a moment. And that was just a few minutes of just pounding gently onto our chest. Good, and then from here, we come back into our fist and we drum our tummy. But what I want you to do is, I want you to start at your solar plexus, and then you go down to the left, around your belly button, down to your colon, descending and descending, and come up on the right side. And tuning into the rhythm of anything right here. You know, there's a constant expansion and contraction inside of us going on. And then close your eyes again. Imagine all the body parts that you're hitting. The ascending and the descending colon, large, small intestine. When you go to the left, you're hitting on your stomach. Everything gets a bit of extra energy right now. It's a beautiful way to relate, to activate. You're drumming in the health of your body. Good. Now rest your hands onto your hara. Just make a heart shape with your hands and just breathe into your hands. Exhale, open mouth. And be present to the subtle changes that you created just by doing these simple movements. Good. Now I want us to keep our hands, we open our eyes, we keep our hands in this form and we're just hitting. So now you're hitting the drum of your belly a little differently. And it's gentle, but you know, you still feel it. So this goes more towards the colon. Close your eyes again. This is actually phenomenal if you are constipated. If you do this on a regular basis, nothing wants to stay too long inside of you. Yeah, so everything will start to move. You can do the standing, sitting, any way you like. Do 1 more minute. this takes a little bit to really be beneficial. So that's not something that you do like 10 times. So if you really want to get things moving, you need to do between 100 and 1,000 claps. Sounds a lot, but isn't it? Goes very fast. We'll just do another minute. Keep it going. And then place your hands below your belly button and move your hands to the right and upward towards your solar plexus. All the digestive organs go over to the left and go down on the left side. Big rotations. Giving your belly a lot of love and tender kindness here. And so we digest our life, all our experiences, all the stories Sheila will be working on with you. And they get digested right here. Good. And then we come back to center. And I want us actually to just clap our hands. So what's happening when we are clapping our hands, we're stimulating all the organs that are at home here that we could access through acupuncture or acupressure. So I want you to forcefully now hit, just for a minute. Forceful. Bring your palms facing forward and feel the energy that you activated. A lot going on. All the nerves are activated in your palms and in your fingertips. Good. And from here, I want you this morning to bring your right thumb up and with the left middle finger, you embrace your right thumb. So I bend my middle finger and press it against the top of my right thumb. The left thumb goes underneath and I hold this mudra while we were chanting this morning. This is a mudra to increase the energy in our body. Yeah, it's a beautiful way to do it. So sit in a comfortable way, maybe leaning back or make sure your spine is erect. And then close your eyes. And we're going into our Om Mani Padme.
Om Mani Padme
And staying in this mudra and listening to the sound of our breath. And then gently let go of your right thumb. Bring your hands into prayer pose and press the palms firmly against each other so that your forearms are parallel to the floor, and stay here for 1 more minute. And we inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful weekend.